Midweek update time, and we are tightening our DFS pool based on what we learned yesterday. We built around Lions stacks with Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the Lions defense. Today, we are pivoting at key spots for leverage and to reflect matchup signals. Quarterback first. We are moving from Jared Goff to Jalen Hurts at 6,800. The opponent rank is 6, who have a tough defense overall. But Hurts carries a dash rank of 100, a projection of 20, and he is averaging 21 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 19, 30, and 8. The projection is reliable given his long track record of starts, and the rushing equity boosts ceiling in any environment. From a news angle, essentially, Sports ran a QB power rankings piece noting Hurts plummeting heading into Week 5, while another article the same week backed his Super Bowl pedigree over Baker Mayfield. That conflicting sentiment often suppresses ownership while leaving the ceiling intact, which is exactly the kind of leverage we want midweek. We still like Goff in pools, but Hurts becomes our primary for tournaments, because the field tends to overreact to the tough matchup tag. If we need to save at quarterback, our value pivot is Bryce Young at 4,700 against Miami, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 28. He is projected for 16 with 15 fantasy points per game, and recent games of 10, 12, and 11. He has long surpassed the 3-start threshold, so the projection is usable, and news out of the Browns game highlighted that he looked impressive, while separate coverage noted Carolina cannot catch a break with pass catcher health. That combination keeps the roster rate very low and creates a path for stacking Bryce with a cheap Carolina tight end for salary relief. Running back. We are elevating Devon Achane to our core RB at 7,300. Carolina have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 12. Achane holds a dash rank of 100, a projection of 22, and he is averaging 19 fantasy points per game, with a steady 17, 16, and 17 in his last 3. Sportsline's projection model highlighted him among early anytime touchdown looks, which aligns with what we want to buy in this offense. We are making this shift off yesterday's Gibbs core to spread exposure beyond a single offense while keeping a similar ceiling profile. For a pure salary unlock, Craig Reynolds at 4,000 against Cincinnati, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 30, is a thin tournament dart. This is a lineup construction tool only in large fields where you are betting on a touchdown or late-game volume if the script tilts positive. Wide receiver. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 7,900 remains unchanged as a core play. Cincinnati have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 30. He carries a dash rank of 100, a projection of 21, and is averaging 24 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 26, 21, and 9. Sportsline's machine learning model highlighted him among top anytime touchdown targets recently, and Detroit just ran the score up in historic fashion, reinforcing the red zone role. Even as we move off Goff at quarterback for leverage, we are not moving off St. Brown's elite floor-ceiling combo. For value, Tyler Johnson at 3,300 draws Dallas, who have the absolute worst defense overall by opponent rank 32. Recent scores are 0, 5, and 5. This is a punt that benefits from the defensive target we want to attack on salary relief slates. Keep exposure light and treat it as a way to unlock premium stacks. Tight end. We are pivoting from Jake Ferguson to Brock Bowers at 5,500. Indianapolis have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 19. Bowers brings a dash rank of 100, a projection of 14, and he is averaging 12 fantasy points per game with a steady 10, 10, and 18 over his last 3. Coverage around the league has spotlighted him a quarter into the season as a consistent second-year producer for the Raiders, and the price tire offers leverage away from Dallas chalk that built up after Week 3. The role, stability, and yard-after-catch profile make him our preferred spend in this range. If you need a punt, Tommy Tremble at 2,900 correlates with the Bryce Young value build against Miami, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 28. He just posted 15 with prior games of 4 and 1, so you're leaning into recent red zone usage at near zero ownership in stacks. Flex. We are moving the flex from McCain yesterday to Nico Collins at 6,800 today. Baltimore have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 31. Collins has a dash rank of 100, a projection of 16, and is averaging 15 fantasy points per game, with recent scores of 12, 26, and 6. DFS Pro coverage, including Mike McClure's picks, has called out Collins as a strong early season play. And we like the mid-range price to balance Hurts builds while attacking a soft overall defense. If you need a deep tournament dart, Allen Lazard at 3,400 is viable in the same Dallas matchup that rates as the absolute worst defense overall by opponent, rank 32. Recent scores are 2, 9, and 0. News around his roster status reminded everyone of the volatility, which should keep the field away. That makes him a viable large field leverage swing. Defense. We are swapping off the Lions' defense from yesterday to the Seahawks at 2,800 for salary and exposure balance. This keeps us from over-concentrating on a single game and opens routes to fit Hurts plus a premium receiver. We are hunting for pressure and short field events at a lower price point, and the ownership should remain modest. If you need the minimum tier, the Bengals at 2,100 are a pure punt. You are banking on variance and a broken play. Only deploy in lineups that do not include Amon-Ra St. Brown to avoid working against yourself. To recap the changes, we pivot to Jalen Hurts at quarterback for ceiling and leverage. Despite a tough defense overall, we elevate Devon Achane to the RB core based on consistent production and supportive anytime touchdown signals. We keep Amon-Ra St. Brown as an unchanged core receiver against one of the worst defenses overall. We move to Brock Bowers at tight end for role stability and leverage. We slide Nico Collins into the flex to attack another one of the worst overall defenses. And we rotate to the Seahawks defense for salary flexibility. Value leans are Bryce Young with Tommy Tremble, Tyler Johnson as a punt against the absolute worst defense overall, Allen Lazard as large field leverage, and Bengals defense only as a last-piece salary saver.